When it comes to Vikings in general, I'll state the obvious. They like cheating, pillaging, fighting, and drinking. But maybe there's more than meets the eye when it comes to Vikings Valhalla. Here's what you might have missed. I'll admit the series was good, really good. Almost enough to make me want to raise my hands for a good old-fashioned, hand-clapping skull chant. Why? Well, much unlike most TV shows these days that are pretty much all about superheroes and the supernatural, Vikings actually existed, and their history is notorious, and turns out Vikings Valhalla wanted to keep it real, for the most part. Considering 2013's Viking series was on the History Channel, Netflix knew what kind of fans they were catering to. History nerds. I mean, buffs. History buffs, yeah, that sounds cooler. The Vikings audience tends to keep a close eye on the details, and apparently you do too, so let's get into it. I probably don't have to warn you, right? But this is your official spoiler alert. I'll start with my favorite ferocious Greenlander, Freydis Eiriksdottir, who is not just some ferocious bruiser beauty. No, she is taken straight from the pages of history. Her and her brother Leif
Erikson, not the son of Viking warrior Erik Thorvaldsson,
are children of Erik the Red, who founded the first European settlement in Greenland. What I like about the true history of Freydis, and where Netflix didn't pull any punches, is that she was actually a ferocious warrior, and this is totally on display in Valhalla. She walked the talk, so to speak, slitting a few throats along the way. Like in the show, real-life Freydis was a warrior as well. History claims she would beat her bare chest with the flat of her sword to scare her enemies, and this was all while heavily pregnant. I guess Netflix decided to leave that little historic detail out. They had to draw the line somewhere. They definitely fuzzed the line with King Canute of Denmark, especially during his invasion of England. The St. Brice's Day massacre leads Canute to invade England in Vikings Valhalla, but in real life, he was actually accompanied hand in hand by his father, King Sweyn Forkbeard, who led the conquest instead.
Such brave words from a boy.
Okay, they probably didn't hold hands. Yes, King Canute of Denmark was there, but he was his dad's +1.
Never let traitors go unpunished.
The invasion was a success in Vikings Valhalla and in real life by the end of 1013. Okay kids, your history lesson is over. The next class is creative writing. Maybe you're wondering why the creators of the show actually called it Vikings Valhalla. Yeah, it's cool sounding, but let's give executive producer Jeb Stuart and his writers a little credit here. A major reason for naming the series Vikings Valhalla is it represents the end of all things, and therefore lets us know that, well, this is it. Sure, Season 2 is in the works, but they wanted something final sounding. And for a Viking, Valhalla is the definite end of the line. According to my Viking drinking buddies, it's pretty sweet. Basically heaven for a Viking warrior, and each day you get to feast, hang out with Odin, and bar fight each other, and then drink unlimited liquor from the udders of a goat.
Thank you for the goat, my friend.
Poor goat. I bet he wished it was an open bar. Oh, not to mention, another reason why the creators named it Valhalla is that in terms of the history for the Vikings, they were kind of peaking at this time in history, and this marks the end of an era for them. Sound the Viking horn. Vikings Valhalla likes their Easter eggs even more than this guy. Yeah, that's me in an old Arrow Easter egg commercial. Please don't judge. As you can see, I've been trying to lay off the chocolate for a bit since that shoot, but I digress.
I can say no more.
Okay, I always have to give the costume department some love, as they're kind of the unsung heroes of Hollywood. They can make you look really good, or really terrifying. And for them, it's all about the details that they willfully embed into the series.
Is it like in the stories we heard growing up?
It is all I know.
Something you may have missed is that the Greenlanders are always wearing, well, green. Well, more like earth tones, like the leaves in autumn. The colors and textures of the Greenlanders' costumes, according to the costume crew, are meant to reflect their connection to the earth and the environment they were born and raised. Another fun wardrobe fact that you may not have noticed, considering how well she fought during the entire series, Freydis, who is actually played by an actress named Freyda, had the heaviest costume of the lead characters, which makes this epic 1v1 fight scene even more impressive. No wonder she geared down to celebrate the victory in the end.
Now it's my time to give you a cross.
Speaking of fight scenes, the entire Vikings franchise has a reputation of gritty, brutal action. The fight scenes are all about blood and mud, and seem really long, with all the characters totally exhausted by the end of battle. Well, that's because they actually were muddy and really tired. According to Richard Ryan, stunt coordinator for Vikings Valhalla,
It's one of the perks of the job.
they wanted the actors to be ready to perform the fights in their entirety and perform the fight from top to tail, as he said. So that's how they prepared. Okay, I'm sure there were some cuts here and there, but there's no denying you can see some real-time agony on the actors' faces. So like I mentioned before, Vikings Valhalla is based sometimes on historical events from Vikings history, like the St. Brice's Day Massacre and the fall of London Bridge. But that doesn't mean everything from Vikings Valhalla is true. Nope, there's definitely some fake news. Yes, London Bridge has fallen over the course of history many times. Heck, there's even a children's nursery rhyme about it. According to skaldic tradition, Olaf destroyed London Bridge in 1014 with the aim of dividing the Danish forces that held the walled-up city of London. In Vikings Valhalla, Leif comes up with a plan to destroy London Bridge and invade England. And the plan works. But did he have that plan in real life? Well, no, sorry. In reality, it didn't work out that way. Cool story though, Leif. So let me ask you, sure, you're watching this video, and you probably binge-watched Vikings Valhalla like me, but are you a true Vikingsverse fan? I'm talking about the original series. Did you binge that too? There are so many connections between Vikings Valhalla and its predecessor, Vikings.
Let everyone rejoice. Kattegat is at our mercy.
Valhalla picks up 100 years after the finale of the History Channel series Vikings, so there were bound to be connections between the two. But what are they? Well, one glaring difference was in the original Vikings, we get introduced to the small port town of Kattegat, or should I say former small port town. In Vikings Valhalla, it's a multicultural city and the center of the Viking world, with several natural defenses surrounding the area, including a narrow entryway that makes it difficult to invade. Can't help but think about LOTR when I see that. Anyway, I'm talking about a serious upgrade.
You shall not pass!
But hey, it's 100 years in the future of the original series, so yeah, makes sense. The city of Kattegat is located in Norway, according to the Viking show. In real life, yes, it's in the Scandinavian region, but Kattegat is not really a city. In reality, the Kattegat is a sea area that lies between Denmark, Norway, and Sweden.
Boring!
You know who's not boring and really creepy? Jarl Kare. He's behind me, isn't he? So creepy, in fact, you may have missed one of the biggest little/huge revelations in the Valhalla series. Admittedly, I actually did at first.
You'll have to excuse my friend. He's a little slow.
But on further review, this is a big one. Like looking for a needle in a bird's nest of a weird beard, did you notice his little hand tattoo? And if you did you understand the relevance? Okay, well maybe I am a little slow, but I caught on. Everyone knows that any talk of worship of the old gods are a real pain in the beard to creepy Jarl. And if you do bring them up, well, he'll eradicate you completely. I'm talking about paganism, of course. Jarl Kare believes he has been put on this earth to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ in a very psychopathic, murderous rage. But when we learn more about his past, the reasons for his distorted viewpoint become apparent. When he was a child, Jarl witnessed his brother being killed as a sacrifice to the pagan gods. So you might have noticed that Jarl wears these creepy little OJ gloves. Well, this is to conceal his origins. He has a tattoo of a Y-shaped symbol on the palm of his hand. The name of the sign is Algas, the Old Norse rune of protection. He had a dirty little secret, killed a lot of innocent people, and had his head cut off pretty fiercely. You or I definitely couldn't miss that. Okay, here's another VK1, VK2 connection. Can I call it that? No? Okay. Well, this one is all about Prince Harald's father. At the start of the Vikings Valhalla series, Prince Harald Sigurdsson reveals he is the great-grandson of Harald Finehair. And like an Hollywood true story, we all gasp at the big reveal.
It's impossible.
You'd only know if you watched the original, really long Vikings, but hey, that's what I'm here for. He's a character that will be familiar to viewers of the before-mentioned marathon show. Norway was ruled by this Viking king who surpassed all odds, as Ragnar and his sons believed it was Ragnar's destiny to lead the kingdom, and what happens next is pretty gangsta. Like straight out of Valhalla gangsta. Let's take a moment to talk about Leif Erikson for a moment, shall we? He starts off the series kind of living in the very large shadow of his deceased legend of a father, Eric the Red, the founder of the first Norse settlement in Greenland. But did you notice the moment when Leif seemingly turns into his father during the series? Literally and figuratively. Before we get to that, here's a fun fact. In real life, Leif was known as Leif the Lucky, a Norse explorer who is thought to have been the first European to have set foot on continental North America, approximately half a millennium before Christopher Columbus. Icelander sagas claim that he founded a Norse settlement at Vinland, which is usually interpreted to be coastal North America. Leif and his crew made a settlement that appears to correspond to the remains of a Norse settlement found in Newfoundland, Canada, called L'Anse aux Meadows. Okay, back to Vikings Valhalla, where a famous battle marks the end of Season 1, the Battle of Stamford Bridge. This battle plays a pivotal role in Leif Erikson's future. The fight results in Leif losing his girlfriend Liv. This causes him to inherit the anger of his father, Eric the Red, as Liv was the only person keeping Erikson grounded and at peace.
You heathen bastard! You're just like your father.
Needless to say, Leif loses his cool. He goes absolutely beast mode on how many soldiers, it's hard to say, but when the dust settles, there's a pile of corpses of fallen men. Erikson goes berserk, as the season's final shot shows this character's breaking point, and as you can see, he's red in more ways than one, like Eric the Red, his papa. It is likely that viewers will see more of Erikson's transformation as a character moving forward. The cast of Vikings Valhalla Season 2 knows what's to come now that filming has finished. In the words of actor Sam Corlett, who plays Leif Erikson, it only took the loss of someone he deeply loved that he feels responsible for to erupt. Now that he's erupted, going from here, can't say too much about Season 2, but can he contain it? Does it take over him, or can he dance with it in a way that is helpful? Erikson was an important part of Vikings history, so it will be interesting to see how it is portrayed on the small screen going into Season 2. The creator of Vikings Valhalla, Jeb Stuart, explains Leif Erikson's breakdown in the final battle of the season finale and teases how the character will grow in the coming episodes by saying, "I think having him reach that point, there's a part of Leif that I always wanted to play with, which is, he and Freydis are the children of Eric the Red, and we know that Eric the Red had a very dark underbelly to him as well. He was a Norse Viking who was expelled to Iceland. He killed somebody in Iceland, he was expelled, and he had to find Greenland. Who is this guy? And why did he spawn these two children who are very different, and yet they embody different parts of their father?"
There was a lot of elements to Leif's plan.
So I think you're seeing a little Eric the Red come out at the end there, and this character has a very exciting future. The beheading of Creepy Jarl that I mentioned before was of course at the hands of my fave Freydis. And it shouldn't be long before fans can see her again. Will Freydis continue to live up to her given name of Manslayer? Well, one can only hope, as Vikings Valhalla Season 2 is already underway, and a third season renewal is likely. We hope. I'll end things with an old Vikings buddy drinking chant of mine. If you cheat, may you cheat death. If you steal, may you steal your love's heart. If you fight, fight for your friends. And if you drink, drink with me. Until next time, see you in Valhalla.